Hi, Chris Popper here in Bangor. I'm joined by UMaine soccer coach Scott Atherly up in Orono. Coach, an up and down weekend. I was there for the first halves of Friday nights and Sunday's games, and a great 3-1 win over Mercer on Friday night, and then a tough 2-1 loss to Sacred Heart on Sunday afternoon. And I thought that first half it was UMaine definitely controlled the pace, controlled had the advantage. And oh, excuse me, I had a dog sneezing in the background. And all but for a minute and a half in this second half, it was going your way. Talk to us a little bit about the weekend, if you would.
Yeah, well, I thought on Thursday night, our team was especially good at utilizing the width, and really that really opened up a lot of key central spaces for us, which is why we were able to get in Mercer's box as often as we did. And I thought our mentality in the final phase, the finishing phase, was excellent, and it really mirrored how we want to behave when we get into the box. But our entries into their goal box were definitely a result of our discipline to be able to get the ball in wide areas. On Sunday, we just didn't do that. Our intention was to do that, and partly was because of I give credit to Sacred Heart, how they defended us really made it difficult for us to be able to change fields and switch fields. And that for us then really stretched the game out. And there were a lot of transitions, and we got really fatigued in the second half. In the fact that it was the second game of the week, it really showed. So I think it's an opportunity for us to look at, what our original intent was to get the ball wide, why we couldn't get it there, and why that's so important for our team to play the way we want to play.
Yesterday was definitely, it was the same for both teams, but it was so humid and the air was so heavy. You could definitely see and why teams became fatigued.
Yeah, I think for us, if we were a little better with the ball and we had it more, that wouldn't have been as big of a factor. Now, obviously, playing two games, this is the first two-game week of the season,
Right.
and no excuses here. The Sacred Heart didn't play a midweek game, and you're always at an advantage. But that's the college soccer schedule. We chose the previous week not to play on Thursday, so we went into the Mercer game, with fresh legs. So it just happens to when you catch teams, and that's just the way it is. So if we were more efficient with the ball, I think we wouldn't have grown as tired as we did.
Everybody, I was sitting in the bleacher area, and when when Maine scored that first goal on Sunday, it was just amazing because Sandrine was just jumping for joy with her first collegiate goal.
Yeah, well, you see in Sandrine, she's a really dynamic player. And she has tremendous passion when she plays, and that's infectious. And she really has brought a lot to our team. And her goal was a great goal. That's a goal maybe we wouldn't have scored last year just by virtue of her positioning without the ball. She was like, her positioning was ideal for how we want her to be. And she was able to pick that ball off, and it gave us, in both games we scored early,
Well,
which is really huge.
yeah, and I thought that was a hallmark of the weekend was um, Maine was aggressive, but not overly aggressive. When you go back to the first game of the season, there were so many offsides penalties, and that you really gotten a handle on. But you've been the forwards and midfield have been aggressive without being overly aggressive. They haven't been caught behind by playing too far up.
Yeah, well, part of that too is a product of our opponent. Rhode Island played with an extremely aggressive back line, and they were stepping and trying. Our Sacred Heart was really good at being compact and they dropped very deep and quickly. They dropped quickly, I should say. And that's where we got into trouble because they made those spaces look like they were available and attractive, and they dropped quickly, and then the ball was coming back at us. So I think it was more a product of our opponent, but ultimately, for us, we're working on our patience, and that's getting better.
Sure. Well, and again, it's only 3 games in the season. You're 2 weeks in, but it's not a long season, so you've got to you've got to now start moving forward. But you haven't played conference games yet, too, which is the key.
No, and really the kind of the whole idea in this part of our season, we're trying to do two things. One, we're trying to figure out the personnel piece, who's going to be, playing minutes for us and what combinations of players work. So there's part of that, but you're also trying to build capacities of the players that are going to probably play more minutes toward the later stages of the season. And that concept is counterintuitive. It's
Right.
hard to develop rhythm and flow in your game when you're making so many changes, but yet you've got to make a lot of changes at this juncture to figure out some of those, the answers to those questions and build capacity. So, but that's the nature of the time of year we're in. And the good piece is we've played 3 teams so far. All 3 went to their conference championships last year. And, Sacred Heart went to the NCAA tournament last year for winning their conference. So these are good games to play.
Um, I marveled on Thursday night against Mercer. I was sitting there and I was looking and I was like, oh my gosh, the sky is just beautiful. I took a picture of the sky and I mean, it was so purple. And then when sunset came, I'm sure you were not able to look at it at all. But I mean, it's just amazing to be playing in that New Balance soccer complex. And as someone said, um, when fall foliage gets here, Alfond Way leading up to the soccer field is just going to be breathtaking.
Yeah, it really is remarkable. It's a remarkable facility. And the night really, believe it or not, it does jump out. It reminded me of our opening night,
Yes.
and it's just a great atmosphere. I think we had pretty good crowds for the time of year, and the fact
Yeah.
Thursday should be great because now the students are back, and it's part of a reintegration process here that there's going to be a great turnout on Thursday, and it's a great place to play and watch a game.
Um, to walk us through the week. I mean, you probably the team is off today or what? Um, and then you have a game on Thursday, so it's a short week.
Yeah, and actually, we're talking with our crew right now about how we handle the week. Really, it's about recovery for today and tomorrow. Wednesday is your pregame preparation because on the backside of it, we have a long trip on the weekend to go to Colgate. So you have to factor in the totality of the week as you're planning. So today is off. Tomorrow is going to be more kind of recovery, especially for the players that played high minutes, and the team in general. We'll do some video, and then Wednesday it's video about the next opponent, which is Merrimack, and then Thursday you play. Friday you get on the bus and you go halfway to New York, and then you play on Sunday at Colgate.
Right. And then you're I mean, it's a long trip out there and a long trip back, no doubt.
Yeah. Yep. So you have to factor all those things in.
Um, talk to us a little bit about the play of Elena Berenberg in goal. I mean, a couple of brilliant saves yesterday. One that the photo that I took of her punching the ball out. I mean, and it's so vocal on that back line.
Yeah, well, so certainly no fault of hers on the 2 goals that they scored. Their set piece goal, we left two people open at the back post, and nothing she could do in either
Right.
one of those situations, as far as I'm concerned. And I think the more she plays and the more games she gets, she just grows with her confidence. She does have a very clear vocal presence, and I think she has great command and understanding of the game. And I think the game, like the second half of both games this week, both teams really, asserted more pressure in the second half. And I think as she grows more accustomed to that, she'll just be more natural in terms of her decisions on her playouts and things like that. So gaining valuable experience. So for such a good goalkeeper, she doesn't have a ton of college
Right.
she's only going to get better.
Right. All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Best of luck on Thursday. I will be up there, and then I will not be on the road with you on to Colgate, but I'll watch it on TV, and we look forward because that game will be on ESPN Plus, and look forward to talking with you next week.
Look forward to talking with you, Chris. Thank you very much.